Hey, good morning everybody, and welcome. We're starting a few minutes early today, and of course my name's Isaac, and I'm the lead pastor here at Inland Hills Baptist Church, located in Anaheim, but wanted to jump on a couple minutes early. I'm going to talk about two things, but first I got to grab my coffee, so why don't you grab a cup of coffee or tea or whatever it is that you drink to kind of wake up in the morning. Maybe it's, for some of you, it's mother, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And I'll be right back. Probably thought it was going to be a lot slower than that, but wanted to always, give people a couple minutes to jump on. And so if you're seeing this and you've got 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes to kill to learn about what's coming up with us, please stay tuned. And as always, want to encourage people to share this video and get the word out, just as we kind of talk about some things that are upcoming with our church. And so, like I was saying, we are in Anaheim, but we are, pretty mobile at this point. We're pretty much online, and I'll be talking a little bit about some of the stuff we got coming up in the next couple months, really. And that will be great news for probably those that are kind of closest around you as it relates to maybe attending and gathering in a church setting. And it's going to look a lot different than it really ever has in the history of our church. But I'm excited about it. It's a cool transition. I love change, and I love, cracking through stuff. And so this is, so a lot of my friends are like, well, everybody, right? We're all in not a panic mode, but we're definitely in the sense of what do we do? And the, oh crap, kind of factors in. And I'm like, man, if you know my history and some of the stuff that our church has gone through here, I'm like, I was born in this, we're ready to go. So we're going to be getting started here in about 2-3 minutes. Hey, so it's Thanksgiving week. One of the things I wanted to definitely maybe at least give you an opportunity to, if you're so inclined to do so, is maybe just share something in the comments. I always ask people to share one or two things. One, if you're watching, say hello, just say, hey, what's up, in the comments, and then just let us know where you're watching from. I always find it interesting, like the varying cities sometimes that we'll come across in Northern California, Southern California, other cities, across the U.S., extended family and things like that. And so I'm always interested to see where people are watching from, because I always like to share, with our church family, like, man, we're having a national impact. We're having a bit of a global impact with this crazy year. And it's always great to let people know, hey, there's some good stuff, to focus on. There is some positives that are coming out of this. Some people call it the silver lining, but I think really in 2020 in this situation, you really have to understand, like, God's maybe just pivoting a lot of things and allowing the gospel, allowing maybe our influence as church, maybe even my influence as a teacher of the Bible, to expand. And that's that's really the goal, right? The gospel is supposed to go global before the return of Christ. And so very interesting in some ways as you think about technology and the spread of technology, not just nationally but certainly globally. So we are excited about the future in 2021. And but yeah, like I was saying, wanted to kind of circle back with the things I'm asking you to share. If you got something that you're thankful for, it's Thanksgiving week. This is a great weekend. Drop it in the comments. Let us know what you're thankful for. Let us know who you're thankful for. And look, I think that even includes people that may have passed on. I lost my grandmother this year, and man, just a rock cut. Very interesting. She was saved in a church plant in California, in San Jose, actually. Decades and decades ago, while her and her husband, my granddad, were in the Navy. And so, I always often think about that, being out here church planting. I wonder whose grandmother, is going to get saved as a result of our ministry here. And so, but I'm super thankful for her and my wife and my kids, our church family. Thankful for those of you. And so if you've got someone that you're thankful for, drop it in the comments, something you're thankful for, and that will be awesome. And it's a bit of a lighter weekend, obviously, so a lot of you will maybe be catching this after the fact. So the first 5 minutes, just fast forward through those. I probably should have said that at the beginning of the video, but I didn't know no one was going to be on. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to take just a couple minutes and just talk a little bit about a couple things that are coming up. So I'm going to pull up my calendar here with you, and maybe go ahead and grab your calendar with me, and we can take a look at a couple things. Well, first and foremost, the number one thing that's coming up is actually this morning, and like we've been talking about for a couple weeks, we are having our end of the month, in-person gathering, and so that's this morning. And so at 10 a.m. today, we're going to gather with a couple from our church family, and we're going to preach through Colossians, and we're going to have an in-person gathering at a location. And so if you would like that location, message me, send me an email, drop it in the comments, let me know that you're coming this morning. And look, I would just say, if you're anywhere within an hour, of our meeting place, which I'm not going to disclose, so you actually have to kind of reach out and let me know that you want to come. But my point is, we are central in North Orange County, and if you would like to come and join us, we've got we got the masks, we got the alcohol, stuff for your, not wipes, but what's that stuff called, the hand sanitizer. We got that. We got a couple light snacks, some brunchy type stuff, some beverages, coffee, of course. And we'd love to see you as well. And then, of course, for those of you that may be jumping, online for the first time, or maybe you're seeing this, maybe you're not really familiar with our church, I always like to say, like in the show notes here, there is a connection card, and there's also a next steps card. And I just know that a lot of people will check out a church online before they actually do something in person. And a large part of that question is, okay, what do I do next? Like, where do I go next? How do I get connected? All those questions. And really, for us, it just starts in those two forms that are in the show notes. Those may be to the left or right, or at the top of me, depending on what platform you're watching. But the connection card really is just your name and an email address. That's really all we're asking for. We don't need your address and date of birth and all these other things. We really just need your email address. We'd love to send you some stuff once a month that we really think would be an encouragement to you. And then, of course, on the other side of that, the next step, like what's my next step, is the next steps form. We really just try to keep it simple. And really, we always try to we always try to lead people and direct people towards really just two places, and that is a discipleship, and that is really you sitting down for a couple weeks with someone one-on-one. And it's not overly curricular, it's not overly structured. Really, the idea is, hey, develop a relationship, but this is a place where you can ask questions about faith, express doubts about faith, and actually learn, what it is really to be a Christ follower, especially if you're not a Christ follower. I find oftentimes people will have such just a weird idea about what Christianity is, and it's been helpful to watch people go through this with someone else and just kind of come out on the other end and be like, wow, that really wasn't what I expected. Even Christians who have been Christians for a long time had a misunderstanding about really what they were supposed to be doing and what it was all about, and it's always cool to watch those light bulbs come on as biblical Christianity kind of sets in and seeps into the heart a little bit. And then, of course, the other is the community groups. We really do believe that spiritual growth, your growth personally and spiritually, are not going to happen in a vacuum. They're not going to happen in an island type approach to your Christianity. A friend of mine shared this earlier this week. Just do a study of the one another passages, or just look up the one another passages on Google for the Bible, and I'm telling you, you will not walk away from that search convinced any longer that you don't need to belong to a group of followers of Jesus that are trying to make disciples and make disciples. We need one another. Pastors need people, and people need pastors, and people need one another, and we just all need one another to really develop and grow in the ways that God has called us. And so the command to gather and the admonition to gather, that oftentimes you'll hear coming from pastors, or you'll see reading in the scripture, and you might be thinking like, man, what in the world, like, why do I have to set aside an hour or two or whatever, every single week? Why does that need to be such a priority? And it really is expressed in all the other one another's: giving to one another, serving one another, praying for one another, forgiving one another, bearing with one another, bearing one another's burden. There's just on and on I could go with the dynamics of just being a part of a gathering of people that are trying to make disciples that make disciples. And that's going to happen for us this morning at 10 a.m. Now, as far as the calendar concerns, the next upcoming thing is really going to be all the way in December. And so if you are unable to make it today, I know we got several of you traveling, going to see, across the U.S. and family for the holiday, and you're still not back in yet. And look, we're still going to live stream this at a later time, probably around 12 today. And so we'll be live at 10 a.m. online. We will not be live online at 10. We will be in person at 10, and then of course we'll be streaming at noon afterwards. And so, but the next date I wanted to direct your attention to is December 16th, and we had a phenomenal fellowship with our Thanksgiving time in November, and just a great group of people showed up. We got to express and talk about our Thanksgiving, and I'm actually meeting with a few guys in our church today to really talk about like what exactly is going to be happening on December 16th. But I'm very excited, and just wanted to put that on your calendar, drop that in. It'll be a Christmas kind of theme, kind of thing that we're going to be doing. So my family and I would love to see you there. We love getting together with people. We love being a blessing and encouraging and praying with people and just having a good time with people. And so you're invited to that on December 16th, and that will be kind of around the same time. It'll be around 6:30. We're going to firm up that time today, and I'll let you know next Sunday exactly what time that is going to be. And then of course, December 27th is going to be our next in-person gathering as far as our whole entire church goes. And then of course, for those of you that are looking for a community group, as I talked about, we have a community Bible study that meets every Wednesday, and that meets at 6:30 p.m. every single Wednesday night. They are actually meeting in person, and so again, I know they're taking precautions because there are some older folks in our church that do attend that group, and so it's above board safe, and the people that go there obviously are conscientious and loving one another in that regard as well. But of course, just like today, we're not going to require anything, but we are going to have things available if you're so inclined to wear some of those things. Let's see if I've got anybody. All right, yeah, we got a couple people posting in, and say hello if you can. So December 16th, and then December 27th. And then, of course, something we'll have a few more details on as well is going to be, I think we're going to call it house worship, as I think what we're going to call it. But we are rolling out something pretty exciting, and I believe we're going to really kick this off the last weekend of January. And really what this is every time we have an in-person gathering, we have a pretty good turnout. And obviously, we've kind of rolled back in a safety tier as it relates to the COVID stuff out here in Orange County and Southern California. And so, and of course, obviously, we're still kind of looking and readying ourselves to maybe look at maybe another meeting place as we're either financially able to do that, or the attendance bears that as a need out. And so what I mean by that is that in January, actually the first week of February, we're actually going to be starting rolling attendance weekend gatherings. And so what that means is we will be attending and we will be gathering weekly, but we're not going to ask everybody to come on one weekend or every weekend. We're actually just inviting people to sign up for a once a month. And so for those of you that have been coming every last weekend of the month, certainly you don't have to stay on the last weekend of the month, but you're kind of already in that habit, so maybe I might recommend that. And we'll try to flesh this out a little bit over the coming weeks as we move through the holiday. We're going to be sending out some emails and encouraging people, but this is something that is we're trying to pivot with COVID-19. Obviously I went through a layoff, had a lot of personal stuff I had to take care of, and so as far as forward thinking and really planning and leading some initiatives in the church, I just had to take a back seat to that, provide for my family, but I am excited about next year. God blessed me with a good job, and now we're able to put some work into that. We're able to put some thought and a little bit more strategic, I guess if you want to say it, planning as it relates to the church. And so what we're going to be doing is just inviting you to register for a particular weekend for the in-person gathering. And so our hope is that you and a couple friends or a couple family members that will just pick a weekend and just begin to fill up those slots. And I think we're going to use Eventbrite. We're really trying to work it through. It's just through our website because there's live stream already built into that already. And so a lot of details on the back end that we're still trying to process through and think through and navigate through. But I wanted to let you know this is coming. And so towards the end of January, towards the beginning of February of 2021, what we're going to be doing is rolling out house worship weekends. And what this means is that, again, you and your family, you and some friends, we're really keeping this between 10 and 12 people. This will be a very small gathering. And I'm going to talk about some of the benefits that we really believe that's going to bring as it relates to not only our church, but also to you personally and your walk and your development in faith. And so we're just going to invite people to join a particular weekend house worship gathering with those that they know the closest and spend the time with the most. And then, of course, the way that we'll work this as it begins to, obviously we're only going to be able to book between 10 and 15 people per week. And obviously that may fill up somewhat quick as you're inviting people and people are getting helped and encouraged and all those sorts of things. Then we're prepared to go ahead and just kind of have multiple times on those Sundays. So we might have one at 9 and then one at 10. We might have one at 8:30 or 9:30, 10 or whatever, so we'll figure that out. But really, the first thing first, we're going to just start the ones at 10 and roll out and give an opportunity for you to register in advance for your particular weekend. And my hope is that we will be able to have you sign up on a recurring basis, so we just can know, who's coming every last weekend, who's coming every first weekend, who's coming every fifth Sunday, of the month, and so on and so forth. And so, really excited about it, and I guess I'm most excited because it's going to give us not even a sense of normalcy, but I really do believe some of the benefits we'll probably talk through next week and in the weeks to come are really going to be helpful in shaping our church for really the future, because we really don't know exactly what this is going to continue to look like in terms of the COVID and lockdowns and all these sorts of things. And so we're going to navigate through this with wisdom. So pray for us as we make decisions, as we pray through some of this. But we are going to be returning to weekly, in the sense of a weekly gathering very, very soon in the coming months, and I'm very excited about that. God builds His church. He's doing some great stuff here. And look, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I'm gonna wrap up some stuff before we get started. Let me encourage you one more time, as the video goes live this afternoon at 12. If you're unable to make it, or even if you're able to make it, just take some time, share this video, host a watch party. Again, you never really know what your invite can do, what your invite and who your invite can impact. You never know what that share may accomplish. And then, of course, if you know someone that you're inviting, invite them to invite someone with them. You just never know the power. You just never know the touch of an invite and what that may do in somebody's life, and how God may actually use that to build His kingdom. And so, look, I'm really glad that you're here. We're going to have a great message this morning. And so for those of you that can't make it, tune back in around noon. We're going to be in Colossians chapter number 1, verses 3 through 8. Again, we're going to be talking about some things to be thankful for. And we're going to actually look at what Paul was thankful for during his time in prison as he writes these particular verses to the church and believers at Colossae. And so if you're a first-time guest, this will be a great weekend for you to join us, share the video, get the word out. And of course, if you have not yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're pushing towards 100 subscribers. We would love to hit that by the end of the year. We're halfway there. And so you and 50 of your friends go over there and subscribe. And I believe that would be a blessing to you and help you take a next step in your relationship with Jesus. So we'll see you at 10 in person. We'll see you at 12 online. And have a great rest of your holiday weekend.